Welcome to Visualising Energy Supply Futures. So what we're doing is we're trying to understand the future of energy supply. And what I mean by energy supply is where does it all come from? Where is it generated? Staff from Cardiff University led a collaboration with the University of Exeter, Swansea University and the WWF. We brought together experts and people rooted in communities to explain the economics, emotions, politics and the practicalities of future energy supply. The Gilgit-Baltistan region borders Pakistan and China on the western end of the Himalayas. Statistics prepared by the government and researchers suggest 40,000 megawatts of hydropower potential, which is roughly how much is used in Great Britain at any one time. However, only a tiny fraction of this hydro potential is used. Rizwan Hussain from WWF Pakistan uses this map to explain the issues.
Gilgit-Baltistan comprises of 10 districts, about 70,000 square kilometer area. The type of projects we have, existing hydropower projects, they are constructed on mountains and streams. The potential sources for these hydropower projects are the snow melt or glacier melt water. Due to extreme winters and very low temperatures, all these water sources frozen, and the hydropower don't get the required amount of water to get the installed capacity of the specific hydropower projects. So this is the main issue.
The energy transition that is happening is way too slow. It's not about planning now, it's about action now. The technologies are there, the concepts are there, everything is there. Time is very short. This climate change is happening so fast and we are planning. Solar is, I think, the answer. I have been thinking a lot on this. I've been thinking about wind and hydro. There is a challenge in hydro. Hydro takes time. There is no moving part in solar. You just have to find a sunny spot. Because I have been in this field for 30 years now. Every house should be electrified. Being an engineer is my dream. But there is no coordination in the world about these activities. Nobody is asking nobody. Everybody is doing isolated. So there should be a coordination of engineers.
One of the projects we're running at the moment is exploring how national policy interacts with local context, and that's specifically around the net zero targets set by the government to the social housing sector. So like places like Blaen Gwynfi, who still have the old miners' cottages running on oil, there was an assumption that they would love to swap to the new systems and the air source heat pumps, but 9 out of the 10 houses said no thank you, we'll stick with our oil. Port Talbot is a place in South Wales which has been historically built up around a steelworks. In the past couple of years there's been a transition away from making steel, so all of the heavier end such as the blast furnaces have been closed, and there's an ongoing transition towards green steel, and they're in the process now of establishing the electric arc furnace.
Converting Port Talbot steelworks from coal will require new sources of electricity. This particular increase in energy demand is easy to understand. However, Gareth Clubb works for WWF Cymru and is involved in Community Energy Cymru and asks more broadly what the increased demand is for. Fiona Shirani from Cardiff University then explains why energy choices are hard for people at the moment.
I think there's an idea about the utility that we're putting additional energy towards, and thinking about what we use energy.
It's been interesting trying to find some of those existing future visions, because like you say, there's all an expectation that it's just going to be more and more consumption of energy, and there's not really a vision that says what it would look like to consume less energy. I think certainly what we've seen, so a project that my colleague Gareth Thomas was working on a couple of years ago around domestic heat decarbonisation, where I was talking about imagining different heating futures in your home and what that might involve. And we had a lot of people at that time saying, I can't think about the long-term future right now, because at that point, that was when we had that massive bill increase.
Okay.
People are like, right, now all I can think about is this, and I'm not thinking about the longer term. So, I mean, we've had people, that's a response that people have had on previous projects as well, right? But this is a long-term, climate change is like a long-term thing, and energy transition is a long-term thing.
The UK government has created an interactive map from the Renewable Energy Planning Database. In this discussion, we use the map to visit a place in North Wales and explore a project that did not happen. In particular, Gareth Clubb talks about ownership of energy production.
So this is an abandoned one.
Okay.
Vattenfall. Vattenfall, that would be. It's a state-owned energy company for Norway.
Yeah.
Obviously making good money from a whole bunch of projects in Wales and elsewhere in the UK. But of course, Norway has the sovereign wealth fund, which is using to invest via Vattenfall. And this is something else where communities talk about extractive industry, because the profit from operational wind farms owned by effectively state operators from elsewhere is going back to Norway.
Right at the end of that map is where the Eisteddfod took place and where we saw these examples of people protesting against the pylons, those blobs that you see at the top there, which are the wind farms. All along that line, there will be sort of massive pylons. It's an issue here because this is through farming country, it's through a place which is seen as being of natural beauty, and we've got lots of other industries here in Wales, like tourism and farming. And again, it goes to the root of a sense in which people who perhaps live locally in an area are seeing great change and probably not seeing so much direct benefit.
We are again basically moving to cleaner sources of energy, such as solar energy. The Department of Energy is researching those small nuclear plants. They're called micronuclear plants, and places where they can be deployed with the greatest safety possible. Those microgrids and interconnections would allow for greater security.
We cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And I would suggest that's very relevant to the topic of visualizing energy and how we need to think about energy, its procurement and its use going forward. And we need to do that as soon as possible vis-a-vis the big picture of global warming, climate change, and indeed the recent international court case, which was very clear about responsibilities of countries to address the emissions scenario. And therefore that does mean energy.